What up, what up, what up, everybody? Welcome back to Today's the Day with Zack Andersen. Let's get into it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Today's the Day with Zack Andersen. What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Today's the Day. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Today's the Day. Much love to everybody. Today's the day. So you took it into your own hands entirely, right? Yeah. Now it was 2004, 2005. Yeah. And then since then, obviously, crazy ride, turned into manufacturing your own equipment.
Yep.
Doing it different than anybody in the industry, and from a very biased seat being mine. But also that's been the last 7 years of my life is understanding what differentiates Vivint. Nothing is even close as far as service comes. Nothing is even close. So created something really cool there. And then the business side of it, you went and blew it up. You also created a solar company. You created Vivint Solar, took them public. They sold off to Sunrun just recently.
$5.5 billion.
$5.5 billion.
It's not, 5.6 billion, but still 5.5.
5.5 billion. And then obviously Vivint now having gone public, getting purchased, having Blackstone. So many really, really cool things that have happened within it, right? What's like the most important thing you learned through the whole Vivint process? So from when you became fully independent, doing your own thing until now, like the most important thing you've learned, like the biggest lesson that you feel like you took away from that?
Well, I mean, look, there's a couple things, but I would say first and foremost, whether you're running a company or doing anything in life, it's about delivering for other people around you. Like if you're not intentionally trying to lift up other people around you, one, you're not going to probably succeed. And two, even if you do, and let's call success financial success, man, there's no joy in that. There's no happiness in that.
Yeah.
Like I can say all the people that followed, the Vivint train and got jumped on that, had I had these big exits and no one would have had, a pop or financial success or tasted that.
Yeah.
There would have been no joy in that because more money is just more money. But money doesn't buy. They say money doesn't buy happiness, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's the relationships, it's the friendships, it's the digging down deep and figuring things out. And it's usually the hard things, not the easy times, that make us who we are and actually create the enjoyable experiences or memories, I guess I would say.
Yeah.
In life. And it really is. I mean, I'm 54 now. It is all about people and relationships and our family and friends. That's everything. Money's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Money gives us opportunities to do, to experience life and have fun. Cause we have fun.
Yeah.
Travel
absolutely.
the world, jet set around and all these things it still blows my mind, but it really is the capability of, or the decision to try to lift up other people and help them, eat first. If you want to think about it that way, let your people eat first and things will work out. And my dad taught me one of the greatest things in his, few words that he would ever tell me. But, back when I actually dropped out of school in 92, end of 92, I dropped out and decided not to go back to school.
Yeah.
My dad drove down to Provo and, he sat me down and he said, "Hey, Mom and I have decided if you want to go back to school, pay for it." Now, that was my second. I made like $800,000 that year. I owned the whole company.
Yeah.
And, so I didn't tell my dad that I made more than he did.
Yeah.
And, anyway, he's like, "Hey, we'll pay for your school if you'll just stop doing this company and go back." I'm like, no, I'm done with school. Like I kind of see my path.
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, if you're going to do that, you got to understand that your employees are your biggest asset. And if you treat them like gold, if you do that and you give the best service you can to your customers, financially, everything will work itself out." So truthfully, it's like, in whatever you're doing, treat the people around you like gold, like they are the asset of your business or your life.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't see it. A lot of people see people they work with as like a pawn, or a stepping stone, or a commission, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that never ends up well.
Yeah. No, that's probably some of the most valuable advice I've not only learn from people telling me, but showing me. Like, I think one of the biggest blessings of being a part of Vivint is every leader that I look up to and have looked up to, yourself included, Casey, everybody, like that's preached more than probably anything, which is such a cool, like yeah, it's a really cool lesson to learn as young as I was when I learned it. And I'm working on it, but I like, that's probably one of the most appreciated lessons I've learned for sure.
Cool.
And then on that as well, you work with and you mentor and you are like a huge role model for so many younger generation. You have kids that are all age ranges, all the way up to Sydney, right? Where you're seeing the new generations, the newer generations, and then the generations that just came up. And like, and one of my favorite things to ask anyone who's kind of been weathered and lived life and like experienced things and just gets it is like, not what advice do you have for the newer generations, but like what's something you see that's like a red flag, like a warning, caution, like life's different than how it used to be.
Yeah.
And I think one of the biggest things that helped me when I first became an adult, per se, when I turned 18, people gave me really, really good advice on what to watch out for. And they didn't really tell me what to do. Cause I think my parents realized that you can't really, like, I'm not really someone where you can tell me what to do, but I do understand if someone gives me a reason to watch out for something, I do. Right. Like, what would you say is like not a red flag, but something to be cautious of for the newer generation coming up?
Look, I mean, I think it seems obvious to me that a lot of people want a lot for nothing.
Yeah.
It seems like, I mean, I don't have social media. I've never had social media. I would dare to say I probably never will have social media because I've survived to this point without it, but I see posts and you hear things, and I read all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and by the way, I equally dislike the left and the right side of everything because I think it's too polarizing. But
yeah,
I read enough to know that a lot of people, younger people especially, want a lot for nothing. And life just doesn't work that way. You can only get a lot out of life if you put a lot into life.
Yeah.
You put a little into anything, you're going to get a little bit. Jake, my son Jake, plays music. You can want to be the greatest musician on the planet, but if you don't put in the tens of thousands of hours, you can't.
Exactly.
So same with everything else in life. Like, if we want to be just taken care of, that's not only is that not right, but it won't give you any joy and satisfaction.
Yeah.
In your life, it's going to give you the opposite.
Yeah.
I think people would like to think that, hey, if I should be taken care of, everything should be paid for me. And when I say that, maybe not to every last, thing they eat, but that's kind of the general sentiment I see in the younger and a lot of the younger generation. I don't even think that sounds fun. Like, I want to earn it.
Yeah.
And that, again, I'm not talking necessarily just financial, but I want to earn my experiences.
Yeah.
I want to earn my relationships, my talents and my abilities. I want to earn them.
Yeah.
Not have them given to me, because that's, at the end, there's nothing that feels satisfactory in that, at least in my opinion.
There's nothing fulfilling about it.
And the other thing is, like, wherever, if you ride horses, they always say, if you don't want to fall off a cliff, then don't look off the cliff riding a horse.
Yeah.
Wherever you're looking in life, whoever, and the parents say this, it's so true. Whoever you surround yourself by, whatever you're reading, whatever you're paying attention to, that's the direction you're going.
Yeah.
Like, you can think, I'm going in this direction, but I like to hang out with this crowd here. Or, I like to read this garbage here, or, and I hate social media, actually, but I'm going to be on social media for 6 hours a day, having absolute nonsense fed into my brain, making it mushy.
Yeah.
You're going to get nothing out of those 6 hours, zero, except sadness and no true inspiration, zero. I know that because I work with enough youth through the years that when they spend a lot of time on garbage or don't focus on the right things, it's how they start feeling.
Exactly.
So I just say, who are you hanging out with? What are you reading? What are you paying attention to? You have aspirations. Are you reading about them?
Yeah.
Are you figuring out how to make yourself better?
Yeah.
to go accomplish that. Again, I'm not talking wealth. I'm talking like, if you want to have impact in life, in other people's lives specifically, how are you doing it?
Yeah.
Because if you're not focused on that, it's not happening. If you're not looking there, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Going back to exactly what you said, life responds to effort, and you can't have effort on something if your focus isn't there.
Yeah.
So if you go measure your effort towards something, I mean, that's awesome.
My dad said it all. He had a handwritten note, and it said life responds to effort. I didn't even know why it was on. There was a handwritten note above his desk in his office. And I never knew what it meant. Growing up, he'd tell us that all the time. Now I know what it means. Like life responds to effort only.
Yeah.
Otherwise you get whipsawed.
Yep, exactly. That's gold. I love that. That's awesome. And then also reading through things, and then just knowing you, I guess, more on a personal level, like just seeing how much you do with absolutely no hope of getting anything back for people. And obviously the big things that are very notable, like the first $10 million contribution where you got the Pedersen Tower, now the $35 million contribution to the Primary Children's Hospital. And that's all really notable, but the little things as well. Like I've seen countless times, I've known you almost a decade now, which is crazy. I've seen you go and with no hope of getting anything back, you find a random person somewhere, and I just see you go out of your way, take your time, which people always want your time. It's the craziest thing. Like if you go somewhere with Todd, you're going to be there 2 hours longer than you expect because everyone wants to talk to you. And like your superpower is you will go and make whoever you're talking to feel like the most important person in the world. And then you'll go above and beyond to make their life 10 times better than it was right before they saw you, whether that's just with your time and your effort, or you'll go and give the random person a stack of hundreds or whatever it may be, which is just like the craziest thing. And I know a lot of people that are very financially well off that they don't really approach life like that at all. And that's also when I see you more excited than anything else. Like I could watch you go buy yourself a brand new watch that should be stoked and out of your mind to have. And yeah, you're always like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But you go talk to somebody where you hear like this crazy story and you have a weird solution to help them and they're just grateful. You're lit up.
Yeah.
Where did you develop that? Like where did that come from?
I don't know. I mean, I just, well, I don't know. I think it's the main thing I enjoyed about what I did for a living with Vivint. I viewed my job as trying to help people understand themselves, improve themselves, see some potential in themselves.
Yeah.
And be, have someone that cared about helping them lift themselves out of their situation. Cause I've needed that in my life many times. I haven't like waltzed through life with no issues and, no down moments or down years or difficult situations. And I've needed other people to help lift me out of that. And so it is my, like, truthfully on a daily basis. I don't know if I'm 100% perfect, but my intention every day is to try to, and it's going to sound weird, but like, if I go into a gas station, no matter what, I'm trying to find, I'm not going to go out of my way if someone doesn't look at me, but if someone looks at me, even if I don't know them, I'm going to have a brief something with them, interaction, even if it's say hi. And, maybe they look like they're sad or they're not having a good day or financially not doing well. And I love, been very fortunate financially. I love to give stacks of cash. I love it.
Yeah.
Because, to us, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 means, when I say means nothing, it doesn't impact our lives. Other people, it's everything.
Yeah.
It's just everything. So when I go to a gas station, I'm not saying this to brag. I'm promoting this just so everyone knows. When I go to a gas station, if I'm buying a donut and a drink, it's $100 and they always keep the change.
Yeah.
I really wake up in the morning hoping to get a little inspiration on who to help.
Yeah.
I think I'm supposed to do that and I love doing it.
Yeah.
And I have so many insane experiences where like it's transformed my life.
Yeah.
The people I've interacted with. One, I'm going to tell you one. And these are hard. It's hard to do, by the way.
Yeah.
But I was at the gas station. It's probably Casey Ball was involved in this, but I was at the gas station, it was probably 3 years ago. And I'm filling up and a white car pulls up to me. It's a pretty dumpy car next to me. And younger guy gets out. He's got a little baby girl in the back seat in the car seat. Anyway, he splashes it. It's like, I don't know, $5 or $3. I don't know, nothing.
Yeah.
It's just a little splash in the car. And he just looks super sad, like sad. So I'm like, I go in the gas station and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go say something to him and just see if he needs some help. But that's hard. It's hard to do because you're like, oh, what if I offend someone?
For sure.
Which I actually offended the guy at Taco Bell last night with a tip. I actually did.
He didn't want it?
He's like, I'm good. I don't need it. He was really offended. And I said, hey, I don't actually think you do, but the guys that are cooking or making the food in the back, I think they do though. He's like, oh yeah, they do. But I literally didn't try to offend him, but I had Dean and I had a wad of cash and we stacked him up and wasn't having it.
That's remarkable.
Anyway, so I come back out and I'm like, I'm being prodded, by the universe to say something to him. But I'm like, it's still hard. Like, hey, do you need help?
Yeah. Like, what do you say?
Yeah. Well, I just went up to it. And I said, hey man, it looks like you're having a hard day. And he starts bawling, like tears just flowing. And I'm like, hey, do you need some, I noticed you didn't put too much gas in your car. Could I fill that up for you? And he's sobbing. And, anyway, we get that taken care of. We'll go inside. I'm like, hey, is there anything else you need and whatever? And I said, is there any way, I said, this is going to sound crazy, but I just want a bunch of money in Vegas. Like, could I help you out with some rent or something like that? And, he was like, he gave me kind of his background and his story is crazy. And, he had some issues going on.
Yeah.
And he said, hey, look, I've got, drug habits and whatever, and splitting up with my wife and all that. And I said, hey, I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to help, like whatever I can do. And then Casey Ball and I ended up grabbing him the next day and sat down with him for a couple hours. And, I'm not saying I did anything. I just gave him a little hand, but he follows up with me every, couple of months and he's dominating.
That's so awesome.
Dominating life. And he's got his stuff on track. And
yeah.
Probably has struggles just like I do and everyone else does. But
yeah,
like if you can't like figure out how to find people that you can help, no matter what your circumstances, how much money you have, and it doesn't have to be money. It can be high in, how are you doing?
Yeah.
In a real way at a gas station or some place, or, if you're driving down the road, and I know we all have this happen. It's like, hey, I wonder how so-and-so is doing. And then we don't call them.
Yeah.
And they probably freaking needed a phone call.
Yeah. 100%.
So I don't know. That's what I like about life. And people do that for me too. I'm not just a giver. I get more than I give.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I think like, go figure out how to do that stuff.
Yeah. You're spot on with that. Like, and like, it's funny you bring up Casey. Through high school, when Casey was like just mentoring me and helping me a lot, like the one thing that I remember just standing out is just his focus on giving, and it was give until it hurts. And now his phrase is the secret to living is giving. And I always saw you doing it. I always saw him doing it. And in one of the books I read, there was like a challenge to go out of your way. And I was in high school. I had like my income was washing Casey's cars and stocking his fridge. Like, I was definitely not filling my tank. I was putting out whatever cash I had to get as much gas as it would get me.
Yeah.
And then like, that's when I started like, I was like, okay, I don't have money. That's not something I can go and give. But for anyone, you can absolutely go and make someone's day better. Yeah. Like, absolutely. Like, a phone call goes a really, really long way. Just being nice to someone that you typically would just not talk to waiting in line. Yeah. I've had some of the craziest experiences before I had any money to give, before I ever gave anything in that sense, where you'll be blown away. Like that experience, I'll bet you anything that even if you didn't give that guy any money or fill his tank, like it would have, if you'd have just gone and talked to him and listened to him,
100%,
it would have changed even that day, that week, is like whatever it may be. But it's, I would say anyone listening, I think people can get that misconstrued and like turn their brain off when they hear about people giving, thinking that it's just like a money thing.
And by the way, like this fact of life, and again, as I've gotten older, like everyone has sadness in their life. Everyone has challenges. They have stress and strain. Just because someone's driving a nice car or lives in a big house or whatever, and the perception is life's good and life's easy and they've never had problems. Everyone has it. We all have the same fears and challenges and concerns in life. Like you can help anyone out if you're willing to like just put yourself out there a little bit. So I just think it's like one of the joys of life. Now, are there times in my life where it's like I'm so insanely focused on, with Vivint, there were years where like the economy was so bad, financial markets were tough, and it was like heads down. Alex Dunn and myself on the road 8 straight months and
killing yourselves. Literally, like,
and was I, singularly focused on that? Yeah. Distracted. My wife, awesome Andy, pulling me back into, hey, you have kids and you have, church callings, and let's make sure we focus on everything. And so, but the truth is, like, we can help everyone out. And that's where when we, one of the things with doing a job and having extra money, and you're not so stressed over being able to put gas in your car or fix a flat if it's, you have a flat and you can afford to do that and you can pay for your rent or your mortgage without stress. That's when you can relax a little bit and say, okay, I'm good. Now what can I do for other people around me? Yeah. So that's why for me, it's like important to get yourself ahead financially, especially at a young age, because then you can do things. And again, not just money, but time. Exactly. And relax and actually be able to, spread your focus. I mean, dude, that's so gold. If no one gets anything out of any podcast other than that, like that would make it all worth it for me 100%. So I want to be super respectful of your time. I know you're busy. Just a couple more things super quick. The first one being, if there were 2 things I was thinking last night as I was going and kind of prepping and like, okay, like what do I want to talk about? Cause you've given me so much like life-changing knowledge, but more of like leading by example that I could go and talk about. And you've done, like, today's been amazing already, but like, I was trying to compartmentalize, like, what's the most valuable things I've learned? The number one biggest thing I've learned from Todd and just being like able to witness you in your environment, like at your house, when all possible fronts that could be up or down. And you're one of the most authentic people I've ever met, meaning you don't really have a front. You act this way when you're with your wife, when you're with your business partners, when you're with potential business partners, when you're with NBA players, when you're with anyone, like my random buddy from a different state that's just in town. You act the exact same. But number one is the fact that you're always looking to go and give, serve, and just give part of yourself first and foremost to go and help other people. The next 2 things that really stood out to me that I would say, like, I've learned from you. The first one, it's a saying. I've asked you your favorite saying one time because we're going to go make you a little custom piece or whatever. And the saying was "die tired." Like you said that. And I think you've explained that throughout your whole life story. Like, you're absolutely going to die tired. Yes. You might die from being so tired, frankly. But no, you're absolutely going to die tired. But what is that, like, very shortly, because you touched on this whole time, like, what does that mean to you, die tired? Why is that so important to you? I think, I'm going to be super honest, like right now in this moment in my life, having stepped down from Vivint, and I've taken this last year plus off to get surgeries done, about to go get back surgery in Germany. Eye surgery. I am the least busy, although I am still very busy. That I've ever been. It's the least amount of pressure and stress from a worldly perspective that I've ever had. And it's stressful to me. Very stressful to not have a lot of stress. If that sounds weird, but I function best when I have nothing left in the tank and craziness happening all at the same time. Different companies, different businesses, different investments, different companies that sit on their board. Like the more, fire rating down on me, the better I operate. I don't know why. So, I'm in the middle of, again, like rehabbing my body from off-road racing, a lot too many wrecks and accidents and that type of thing. So that is the focus right now. But I think the important thing when we're here on earth while we're alive is, what, and I've said this sort of, but like, what are we good at? And what can we do to help lift up other people around us? Like, truly, what is that? Now, from a financial perspective, I don't need to do anything ever again.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even need to, I can just stay in the investments I'm in, the real estate I have, the whatever, but that would be so underutilizing my knowledge and my talent and my ability.
Yeah.
I would feel like a failure, like 55 and on fail. Up to this point, I'd say, and again, I'm not, if you're grading yourself, I think I've done a pretty good job, like putting myself out there and giving everything I've had for my family, for, my friends, and, definitely for the company. Not perfect, not even sort of perfect, but a pretty good job. If I do nothing for the next, years, the next 30 years, but vacation and relax and enjoy life the way the world would say it, that's a failure to me.
Yeah.
So if I'm not at least sharing my knowledge, mentoring people, working, building people, helping people get through tough times, which I've been through tough times, then I'm not going to die tired. I'm going to die sad.
Yeah.
Disappointed in myself.
Yep.
So my best days and weeks and months were the ones where I literally laying in bed, like going to bed at night, knowing I've got to get up in 5 hours to go to work, get after it again, saying I couldn't have done one more thing today to attempt to lift, kind of lift the ship up a little bit. There was nothing left. Those are the days where I was most satisfied. It doesn't mean everything was great and perfect and all problems solved.
Yeah.
But I just knew I gave everything I had.
Yeah.
And I'm in a different, kind of time frame for me right now. And it's focusing on my kids and what they're doing, and Andy. And we're actually talking about her and I, like, what do we do next? And that includes, what I'm going to do next, because Andy's always involved in that. And what do we want to accomplish in life? We're having that conversation right now when most people would probably be saying, all right, let's put it in cruise control.
Grab a yacht.
Yeah.
Go hang out.
I'm probably going to grab a yacht also, but like, I want to go dominate still. I don't want to just relax for the next 30 years.
Yep.
It's like relax and die. But I die tired. If I died tired and that did kill me, then I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
No problem.
That makes perfect sense. And again, you told me that. I remember it was right after my second, like, adult year of life, my second year selling as well. You told me that, and that was that. I've had that written down, and that propels me big time. And then the third thing, and kind of the most singular to you, that I would say you are very blunt about in a really good way, and directed towards me, is like, your motto is like, think bigger.
Yeah.
Like, the way you think is absurd. And then when every time I've come to you, I've come to you for advice a couple of times, and you've helped me drastically. But every time I walk away looking at it like 10 times bigger than I was looking at it when I went to you with the problem. I go to you with like this little problem, and you're like, well, yeah, do it way bigger, which just makes your problems bigger, obviously, right? But it's like the way you think is so freaking big. Like, I can't imagine you doing something and having it be anything less than unbelievable for most people, actually. Like, where'd you develop that, and why is that so apparent in everything that you do? Like, from your whole story, you just touched on a bunch, but where did that come from? What does it mean?
I don't know. I mean, one, I'd say I'm competitive. I'm not competitive in a weird way where, I have a lot of friends that have had a ton of success, like insane success. I'm happy for people that have a lot of success. And I have friends that have had big exits and done big things. And I'm like, thanks for the motivation. Not like, hey, I want to bury you, but one less you compete with me. But I love seeing other people's success, because I'm like, okay, this is how they're thinking, and this is how they're attacking world or business or investments or scale. And I'm always kind of like, well, if that person can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
And I should do it, because I think if I do it the right way, it's going to give a lot of people the ability to have kind of a lift in life.
Yeah.
I definitely intend to do another, I don't know if it's Vivint like Vivint is, but without a doubt, I'm going to build another company, maybe buy and build, or maybe build from scratch. Part of me wants to build from scratch, to see if I can do it again. Well, I already know I can, but I don't know. I like the challenge, but my regret in life is I didn't think big enough, fast enough.
Yeah.
And part of it is I didn't really have,
which is crazy for you to even say, like, you didn't think big enough, fast enough. Look at what you did from the day you got home from your mission to going and starting Vivint, and then even in 2004 going and transitioning totally independent of any mother company. Like, that's crazy that you'd even say that. It shows. I mean,
right? I see, companies that have gotten to 100 billion, trillion in value. I'm like, dang it. If I would have had, honestly, had I had better understanding, maybe better mentorship, better, different investors, I could have done the same thing. And I should have done the same thing.
Yeah.
And I know some of the decisions that were made, and look, there's no regrets, because you make the decisions you do and you live with them. And I'm one that moves on from that. But, I do believe, if I was your age at this point, I would be thinking like crazy stuff, because I now, we have the internet now, we have Google. I made fun of that earlier, but man, I've said this before, whatever you're reading, whatever you're looking at, whoever you're hanging out with, that's the direction you're going in.
Yeah.
And when I was starting, Vivint back in the day in Utah, like, people thought it was weird to be an entrepreneur, to drop out of school, to try to build a company. If you weren't going to, be an accountant for CPA with Deloitte and Touche, or a doctor, or a lawyer, or whatever it was, that it was weird and random. Like, it wasn't cool.
Yeah.
Especially if it included door knocking.
Yep.
Countless people made fun of me, but I wish that I would have had, that the mentorship or the knowledge, or even the ability to read about, when I was your age, you're 24, 23.
Yeah.
We didn't have internets.
That's so crazy.
We didn't have cell phones.
That's so crazy.
So how was I going to read about a Google, who didn't exist, by the way, but anyone, IBM, or who was a big company back then? GE. I couldn't even read about them, really.
Yeah.
Like, how did Jack, whatever his name was, the CEO, operate and think and invest? And I couldn't do it. So I had some disadvantages. So I did the best I could. And I wish I would have thought bigger, faster, but I think big now.
Yeah.
So that, I just think any time in life where you get complacent, it becomes, whatever you're doing becomes unbearable.
Yeah.
If you're not continuing to push and press on what you're doing, it becomes work.
Yeah.
And unfun, and no satisfaction. We only get satisfied in life as humans, I think, just generally, if we're trying to improve ourselves.
Progressing.
That's it.
Yep.
So
no, I agree with that 100%. That's gold. And I want to be super, super respectful of your time. You've been here a long time. It flies by. I don't even know how long
we've been here. For real. Wow.
I've been here for 2 hours.
Are you messing with me?
That's not true.
I don't think that's true at all, actually.
It's true.
You swear?
We're going to have to cut me back. No one's going to watch.
Holy crap. I'm sorry. But so very, very basically, to wrap it up, man, again, like, thank you. This has been more helpful for me. If this, again, you said you don't care if anyone watches it. Frankly, I don't either, because if no one watches it, I know me, Jack, and Zach absolutely got a lot out of it. So I appreciate you.
It's been fun.
But the name of the podcast is Today's the Day. And that's it's like a term coined back in high school when I was, again, Casey Baugh, all of you guys, but Casey Baugh had me read a book where something stood out, where the essence of it was literally, you have no idea whether you have tomorrow or not. You genuinely have no clue. And a lot of people, like, again, these deaths that you see on the news and all this crazy stuff.
You saw that plane crash? That's my buddy that crashed his plane. Nathan Ricks, gone.
Which is insane. Gone. And then Ken, what's his last name? Ken Block just recently passed away, like, in a snowmobile accident here, which is like crazy. And for whatever reason, that was super real to me in high school, which is strange. But I kind of coined that. And the whole point of the podcast is, like, you have no idea if you have tomorrow at all. So you may as well go and live today as if it's your last day, every day.
Yeah.
And, like, I've done my very best to embody that. And when I really am embodying that is when I go progress the most. I'm the happiest. I'm the biggest, like, contributor to people around me. I'm giving the most everything like that. And I try and go through, and I only have people on here where I've personally, or I've gone and seen how they live their life in that way. Like, you really do go get the most out of every single day. So if you had anything to speak on that as far as like today's the day, obviously you live that way. What would that be? If there was any advice you have towards seeing life that way or approaching life that way?
Look, I think that's, I actually love that. And as you're saying that, I'm sitting there thinking like when you, the thing that I don't know why it stands out to me, but it's the small detail that matters. If you're going to live the day today, it's the small details that matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the big stuff. Big stuff kind of accumulates over time by all the small stuff. You never have a massive impact on yourself or anyone in one moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's the little things that add up to the big things.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if you're going to maximize the day, like, you know, Andy, like, how do I maximize the day for Andy? And now I have the time to do it. Dump the garbages out, do laundry. This is going to sound crazy, but like, she is my day right now. She's
You're making breakfast.
I'm making
I've
breakfast.
seen it. Yeah.
I make the bed in the way that now the way I'd make the bed, if it was just me, it would be a little bit different, but I'm making it the way Andy would make it. So it's, you know, whoever you're with and you're surrounded by, like, if you want to maximize the day, what's the phrase again?
Today's the day.
Today's the day. It's like, start with the little stuff.
Yeah.
You know, if you bypass the little stuff to chase the big stuff's not coming.
Yeah. That's so true.
You know, like I'll say, like, with my kids, I have kids, like, they don't care that, you know, I was invested with Eric Woodley in a company called Dentive. We just sold for, no one talks about this because it's a crappy number, $505 million on the 23rd of December. I thought it was pretty good, but it's
not notable. It's
not $1 billion. So
it's not notable.
You know, whatever. And that was 20 months from kind of zero to exit. But my kids don't care about that. They just don't. But, you know, what Elle cares about, you know, in today's the day is, I saw her in the car in the G-Wagon the other day. My kids are driving G-Wagons. Oh my gosh. They don't own them. They're borrowing them, but
they're not theirs.
She looked sad. And so I could have and I had stuff going on and people coming over. And I fortunately hey, how are you doing? Boom, she starts bawling. And we just sit and chat in the car.
Mm-hmm.
That's today's the day. Like be awake and aware of what's going on around you. And some people say, don't sweat the small stuff. I say, sweat the small stuff.
Yeah.
Sweat the small stuff.
Now
that doesn't mean stress over the small stuff.
Yeah.
But sweat the small stuff in a way that you're paying attention to detail with people around you, because that's all they care about.
Yep.
They don't care that, you know, truthfully, like, that something massive happened, like Dentive sold. They care, you know, my daughter cares, did you notice that I was sad?
Yeah.
Are we having real conversations?
Yeah.
Like, that's
so
it.
good. That's so, and I mean, that's perfect. And no one's hit on that, actually, surprisingly, but it makes perfect sense, because if you get so consumed, because big things will consume you very, very quickly. Yeah. And if you get consumed by big things, you'll just bypass those small things. But like you literally said, the small things are what create the big things.
Yeah, that's it.
Which is, I mean, that's so gold.
All your small little choices and decisions lead up to the results.
Yep.
And it's, you know, and that's also like in relationships, like, you know, I've been married 28 years. A bad day, and we have Andy and I have tough days. 28 years of marriage, and she's married to me. It's not one thing that made her mad. It's a culmination of me being forgetful or not listening properly, or all these little
skipping over the little things.
Yeah, the little things. And then I'm like, and then she's like, oh, you're focused on, you know, you're not focused on me. I'm like, dang, you're right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Let me slow it down. I'm not as important as I thought I was. And
yeah,
but you are. And boom, slow it back. Little focus, little detail.
That's so gold.
So focus on the detail.
That's so gold. There's literally, I mean, there's not a better way to go and end that. There's so many nuggets in that. I completely lost track of time, so I apologize. Yeah. Everyone listening, longest episode ever, obviously, but I appreciate everybody for watching. And Todd, thank you so much again for coming out.
It was good.
I love you, Tom.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, both of you.
Peace.
Alrighty.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. As always, it was a blast for me. I hope you got something out of this. If you got something out of this video, of value, share this with a friend, and please go show your love. We're on all streaming platforms, including YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. Any ratings, comments, likes, shares, they go a very long way, and they make it so I can keep doing these things for you, and I would appreciate it greatly. So please go share with a friend. Until next time.